after every communication, I had considered, and the Commons Law Center one, so that was that drawing. Okay, we're gonna hear Mr. Blunt, and then we're gonna draw for something from, I'm not sure if it'll be a gas card or, yeah, something like that. All right, sir. Thank you for coming today.
Can everybody see that board? Is that better? Yeah.
How you guys doing today?
Good.
Good. I want to thank you guys for showing up, first of all. We need more of this. To Pastor Hennessy, pastor of the church, thanks for allowing me to be here. It all started with the seed and he and I sitting down and beginning to get to know one another. And him allowing me to be in his house and among his people to spread the word that we've been short on and still are short on. Sister Montgomery, very proud of you, number one. You stood behind what you said. My last name is Blunt. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm blunt. You say something to me, you better stand behind it. I'm gonna call you out if you don't. Just that simple. Okay? Thank you for allowing me to be here. To the presenters prior, homeowner alliances, guys, you have a strong program. We need more of that. We as a people, we rent. We rent. We give our money away. We don't understand the value of creating ownership. We'd rather give it to somebody else and then get mad because they pull up to get your rent check in a Benz or SUV. You get mad. You shouldn't get mad. Go out there and shake his hand. You're giving him money. And we need to do a better job of understanding what ownership represents and how much it means in terms of wealth. The young lady, you did a fantastic job. The last lady, she did a fantastic job. Speaking on estate planning, we need more of that. We have rich people that don't have a clue. She mentioned the Michaels, the Princes, and the Snoop Dogs, probate. We need to understand more about probate. I spent years with Bank of America corporate office, and that's what I did. My job was, I was the probate man. I was at the end, at the line. So when the money was due for the home, if someone died, go to probate, I would be calling that attorney once a week, ask about where my money at. So I understand what she was saying. We need to understand what probate represents. I'm an insurance agent. My company is called Blunt Insurance. I'm under Country Financial. Just started ownership April 1st of 2022. Took me a long time to get here. But I just want to speak about insurance, life insurance today, because it's so important. We were late bloomers with life insurance. We avoid it, we do all these things, we do everything else in the world except prepare for life insurance, which is the last thing you're gonna deal with. How ironic that is. It's like when I was playing college football, the coach brought in the funeral guy that owned the local funeral home in Wichita, Kansas, and he buried pretty much all the African American people that pretty much had our business. And I'll never forget the words he said at that dinner that night. He said, "I'm your friendly mortician, and I'm the last person to let you down." I'm 23, 24 years old, and that still sticks to me today, because he was talking real, right? So I just want to bring awareness and education on life insurance so that we we try to do a better job in spreading wealth and leaving wealth, because that's where it needs to start with us. A lot of us won't be business owners, okay? And what I'm finding out is that we as an African American, we in almost last place. The Hispanic community is slowly catching up to get wise, and we've been here a long time, and we still ain't catching on. And it starts in the home. Is where it starts. It's got, like everything else, racism, everything else, success, love, prayer, it starts in the home. So I just want to give you an illustration today of what I learned in my home. And I want to dedicate this presentation to my mother who passed away in June, my best friend. They taught me about life insurance. And they had life insurance their entire life. But we miss, it is important that we select the right people to handle your estate. Somebody that's going to open up envelopes. And just open up an envelope that may be your renewal on your life policy. We won't open it up, and then it expires. One of my guests, I don't know if he's going to be here on this seminar with me today, is a former NFL player. It happens all the time. Don't open up the envelope, and your policy lapses, and then you're in trouble, and then your time it hits, and you think you got it, and it ain't there. And thank God he did very well with his finances, so that he told his daddy, "Don't worry, Daddy, I got this." And it ain't cheap, man, to lay your loved one down, especially at the drop of a dime when it happens, if you're not expecting it. So we just need to do a better job of understanding the importance of life insurance. I'm 15 years old, 14 maybe, 14 years old. My father called me from outside. He said, "Son, come inside, I want you to sit with me." And I already knew the white guy in the living room was our life insurance named Tom Rosner. I'll never forget it because he was a super wonderful man. He was like a family member. Cards every holiday. He made himself a part of our family. So my father brings me in, he sets me down. We're on the couch. I'm not a good artist, and me and my dad sitting there, and this is the insurance agent right here. And my dad said, "Son, when you get older, if you ever have an emergency, run into something, you'll have a little money waiting for you." Okay, that sounds great, Dad. So I signed this policy at 14 or whatever it was, and went back outside. Didn't think none of it until I was 33 years old. My mother came to me after my father passed, and she said, "Your father wants you to have this." I said, "Well, what is it, Mom?" And I looked at the signature. I went straight down to the signature, and I saw my signature. And it took me back from 33 years old to 14, on that couch as a little boy. And at that time, I just was going through a divorce. I didn't have a Lincoln penny. When I say I didn't have a Lincoln penny, I mean a Lincoln penny, okay? So his words resonated. It just hit me on a loudspeaker. If you ever have a problem, you ever need a little money, you will have something for you. And it was true. I had this fund that was part of a whole life policy, I didn't know what that was. At 33, I didn't know what a whole life policy. When my mother gave me the policy and I took over it and lost that policy, because I didn't know the value. And still at 33 of what he was trying to do for me. I'm too busy running the streets and doing all the things, taking care of everything else, taking care of everybody else, spending all this money. And I never took time out to see what he really gifted me. I spent the money out because I needed it. From that point on, I didn't have life insurance for 20 some years. I call it naked. Just out here. And as you get older, you start to realize, well, I don't have a life insurance policy. If something happens to me, not only do my kids not get a Lincoln penny, but how they gonna bury me? Who gonna pay for that expense? I started thinking like, my family ain't got no money. My sisters are tight. Hey, boy, good luck. Good luck trying to get that kind of money. I started picking it out, like I'm in trouble here. So I called my sister up and I said, because I was concerned, I said, if something happens to me, I want you to know. At this moment, I was making her the executor of my estate, which is my body. Because your body is part of your estate. And I said, don't share this with anybody, but if something happens to me, please, just cremate me. I never thought about being cremated before. But when I thought of the cost of what it would cost to bury me, I had to stop being selfish, because we are selfish. When we go through life, we make all this money, and we spend it on tennis shoes, Gucci bags, all this stuff that we has no value whatsoever. At one point, do we stop and think about, okay, if you got kids, what if I pass away and leave my kids and my wife? What they gonna do? What they gonna have? How they gonna get it? How they gonna make it? She got to get out and get a job, but she got to, if she wasn't working, if she wasn't working, she got to get a job. She got to carry all this burden on her back because her partner's no longer there. So what I want to do is just encourage each and every one of us, 10 of us, I think I counted 10 of us in there. The Bible says 2 or more come together. 2 more, so 10 of us come together. So 10 times 10 is 100 here. So I'm planting that seed today that each one of you represent 10, that you're going to pass this word. And if this thing is live or whatever, and you listening, it's time for you guys to pass the word. Pass the word that we are at the bottom and we're not leaving wealth. I see white people that barely have, they're no richer than the next black man I see, but they get a life policy. When I talk to them, he don't deserve it. He'll get the house. He'll get the house. But they still leave a policy or something. $100,000 policy is cheap. Get it while you're young. If you do it while you're young, you will benefit. I didn't learn what whole life policy was until I was 50-some years old and I'm an insurance agent. I felt like a fool when I finally learned 3.5 years ago what whole life meant. It means your whole life. I mean your whole life. You know how I felt thinking about my father, what he gifted me, which I for peanuts I can still have a nice policy and leave my kids. I started counting right now. My kids, they get about $1,000 a piece. They ain't a whole lot. They get something. And then I started saying, I gotta get better. So now I have a life insurance policy. So now that burden I've been carrying for 20-some odd years is now on my back. If I go tomorrow, I know my kids get a little something that you can put me to rest. I got a guest that's going to be coming on today named Mark Duggins. I know Joe's on the screen now. They played in the NFL. These guys I signed out of college. And I told him I'm going to be here when the autographs stop, the cameras and all this stuff, nonsense stop. I'm going to still be here for you, post-career. And we're still together. And we talk about, and we need to educate our people that we need to put our dollars in the right way. When it's all said and done, these young people, it needs to start young. It started, you can get, my buddy owns Gucci and all that stuff. He gives me that stuff. And I realize it has no value. But none of it's going to fit in these Jordans at the end. Nothing. This watch I got on, nothing's going to fit in here. Okay? We need to please start spreading the word, the value of redirecting our dollars to something that has value. Something you got to have. Your house, when you go, it stays. Everything that we talked about earlier, all that stays behind. But if you leave nothing, then they got to go get you a GoFundMe, catfish dinner, or car wash. I told my people, I don't want one. Please don't put me out like that. Please, whatever y'all do, y'all got any love for me? I'm respected. I'm respected among many, but I don't want no GoFundMe. I know that I can hear about people now. He talked all that noise about insurance. He got GoFundMe. That worried me to death. I mean, recently too. I'm talking like months I've been wearing this wearing myself to death. I'm happy now. Like, God protect me today. My kids get something. I can have a little something left, to put me down and lay me to rest in a decent manner. Please, please. I'm urging everybody today to call somebody. You got grandkids. We all can have some grandkids or something here. Take a policy out of your grandkids. My parents, they took the policy. They really don't know by them doing the things that I was doing behind their back. I was not a liability because if I got killed, they was good. My daddy died broke. He died rich, but he died broke. Served in the military for 20 years. Then did 10 years with the IRS. My mother's a retired teacher. I come from a very valued family. Cores, values, morals. He never had money. Literally. Bills, mama paid the bills. He never had money because I used to check his pockets at night when he was asleep. Taking that change from out of his pocket thinking he didn't know. He knew. He never said a word. But when he died, he left policies on himself, my mother, me, my brother. He left rich, but he was broke. I gave him my money as a 15, 16-year-old. I still remember cutting grass. And he'd go get my money. It's in the Bible, Daddy. You need a little money to go down to the Legion with your buddies because he always was at home. He never had no money. Literally, all my life. He'd go in there and get a Bible and get some money. And I go restore, put it back there. But I loved him that much because I recognized that he was giving everything to the family as a little boy. I started to realize. So I'm just here today to spread my word. I'm a new business owner in the community. Blunt Insurance under Country Financial. My office is in Battleground, Washington. I'm new to the area, and I'm trying to grow my business. I'm going to grow my business, but I can't grow without you people here. You folks here, everybody here, I've been observing. Please continue to ask questions because that means a lot when I hear you ask questions. Miss Montgomery, Sister Montgomery, can we bring Mark Duckins on? Is he on the Zoom?
No, he's not.
Okay, is Joe on the Zoom?
No, he's not.
Okay, they didn't make it. It was tough last night trying to orchestrate that with the Zoom and all that stuff, but they represent what I represent because I teach them this. So they're just gonna reiterate what I'm saying, how important. They're successful. They're not running around here broke after the NFL. These guys they're successful men. So we want to continue to pass that on to our younger generation because as y'all see, they're losing it. Murder, they don't care about dying now. Well, you know what? You might want to invest that policy because they don't care about dying. It's the rate is higher now. So please, pass the word on if you will. If you got any questions, I would like to leave my number here. You can call me at any time. If I can answer any questions, I will gladly do so. My number is 206-376-0506. My name is BK Blunt with Blunt Insurance and Country Financial. Please, let's get those numbers up in our African American community. Invest into something that we really have to have, okay? Sister Montgomery, thank you for having me here. Thank you, listeners, and you people that are concerned and want to see better. That's why you're here. You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Byron. That presentation means a lot because what he's saying is absolutely true. We often think, well, that's for if I die. It's not for if you die, it's for when you die, because we all have that date with destiny. Our Creator will reclaim us to Himself. And so, as Brother Byron says, think about insurance for your children or grandchildren. It is less expensive the younger they are. You get a policy on your children or grandchildren and let it grow. By the time they're college age, you may find some additional dividends have accrued so that now their coverage or death benefit is greater than when you bought it. And then that extra income that has accrued may mean you can access those funds for college, or say you're facing some emergency, it may be a benefit to you. It's worth looking into again. As I indicated, this is a conversation to help us reframe our thinking about financial assets and financial management. There are term policies and there are whole life policies. Some may have a need for term and not for whole life, and then the other way around. Some may have a need for whole life insurance, and others just may need it for a term. So please have a conversation with an agent today. Brother Byron at Country Financial came way from Washington to be with us, and thank you, brother, for presenting. And I recognize you face a challenge with your colleagues because they're in a different time zone.
Yes.
Yes, and that, you know, you might not think it, but 1 to 2 hours, it can wreak havoc sometimes because they're probably on an expressway trying to get home. And here we're still having a conversation about financial management. So again, yes, Sister Peggy, you have a question?
I always have a question.
I know, I will pay.
I'm just wondering if the numbers are different for a beneficiary that's not in your family, or is it that are they figured out according to families, you know, or is it just any beneficiary applies?
I will allow Brother Byron to answer that question as the insurance expert here.
Now, can you repeat that in reference to the beneficiary? Yes.
If you want somebody to receive some whole life insurance that you set up, will the payback be the same for somebody who's not in your family versus somebody who would have been in your family?
In terms of beneficiary? The beneficiary is a person that you select, that you trust, without a doubt, without no hesitation, that will take care of the funds that you're going to leave behind and what you want done with the funds. And all that stuff is important with estate planning, goes hand in hand. Have a layout. You leave $100,000, whether you leave it to your daughter or you leave it to your best friend or whoever you choose. There's different situations, and I always ask when I do a policy, do you trust this person? Is this person someone that you have no doubt is going to take care of your business? Because you won't be here to do that, and you won't be here to verify. And that's who that person be. You know who it is here, and you know who it is here. They have to match up. You have to be indecisive, then you need to look at a secondary. A secondary two options is always good. Because you never know the first option, something could happen to them. You never know, life is not promised to none of us. So just pick someone that you know that's going to do right by you, going to do, have been doing all your life. And you know who that is, whether it's that child that you, and our kids, we have to educate them. Like my daughter, I chose her to be over my state. And I explained to her, like, you know, you will split up equally among your siblings. No, neither one of you will get a Lincoln penny more or less. And I trust you. Dad trusts you that you're going to do the right thing for me. Okay? Because when people get money, they change. Boy, you'd be surprised how quick a person gets some money. They will say they're going to do this. When they get that money say do something else. So that's all I'm saying. If you put it in a trust, it's protected with the trustee delegates every Lincoln penny that goes out on your behalf. Yes, ma'am.
What she was saying was the payouts can be the same.
Yes.
The sister or friend.
Yes, it doesn't matter. That your benefit is your whatever you leave behind. That number it doesn't change. That's the number you selected that you feel comfortable with. It won't change. You won't get, if you do 100, you won't get 80 because your next door neighbor who you chose. No, it will be what you have on paper. Anybody else have any other questions? Because this is really, really important. This is it. This is the last. This is the last of it all. And the alphabet Z is the last alphabet. What I'm talking about today is a Z. We're talking about Z, okay? So you got to get it right.
Okay, I do know.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm getting older.
And so I'm thinking, not only do I not make a lot of money, but I'm running out of time. So I'm wondering if my little bit that I can do is really I always say, oh, I might as well not do it, it's too late. But if it does matter, even that little bit, and a lot of people do a little bit, then a lot of people are being benefited at least a little bit, right?
Yeah. No,
I'll just use this as an example. My mother paid that same, when my father took those policies out, he took them all out at the same time. So we're talking about, 50-year-old policies, whatever. Her policy got lost she'd been paying on for 50 years, and, things happen, unfortunately, but the envelope didn't get opened up, the policy lapsed. And we heard her have conversations about, before she died, that, I don't want to be arguing with any siblings over money. Well, you know what she said to me? Ain't gonna be no money. You don't have no money to argue over. And I started laughing, just like I did there, because my mother, she's a comedian, right? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Ain't gonna be no money. But when she first went into her teaching 50 years ago, she signed this little paperwork about leaving her siblings a little something. Back then, it was a lot of money. Today, it was a blessing to get anything that she left, because she worked so hard, and she wanted us to have inheritance. She wanted that. She paid for it for 50 years, and it just didn't pay off. We had to finally come up with just enough to get her laid. She had already her plots and stuff been paid. We just hadn't have enough insurance to get her laid down when she lost that policy. So please make sure you open your envelopes up. Don't ignore that envelope, because that envelope could be the difference in what I just told you. Anybody else? Any questions? I know you have a question. I feel it. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a clue between a term and a whole life. I don't know what the difference is.
Okay, so term is real simple. You get a term policy, say, for 20 years. Whatever that payment is that you go into, it never fluctuates. It stays level for 20 years. Boom. So you get to 20 years. You still outlive the policy, meaning you're alive. You got to re-up if you can, if you're healthy. Because see, you got health issues that come up as you get older. So you re-up, but it's going to cost you a lot more money at 50 and 60 when you do that. So the difference between a term and a whole, I was telling you, a whole life. I just learned, and don't feel bad, I just learned it just a few years ago what whole life meant. I gotta live with that for the rest of my life. That it was a whole life. No term, the whole life. Your whole life. No term. Whether you get sick, nothing. That policy term, whatever payment went into, it remains. It stays that way. That's the difference. You don't have to re-up and go get another policy and relax your entire life. Does that answer your question? Okay. Let me give you a card too. Yes, ma'am.
I know people who could tell me, but I just never asked.
we don't ask, and that can be costly because we don't ask. start asking. As we get older now, see all of us here, we done got older now. We was younger, we most of us, I was grandfathered in, but I never paid on the policy. My parents kept that policy. I forgot all that about that policy. Literally, from 14 to 30 some years old, because I didn't pay on it. So, yes, sir. You have a question?
He's trying to be a comedian.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you. And one other thing about, when you purchase a policy, you set the benefit amount, called the face amount, so $100,000. Your premium payment is what sets in motion the estate of that policy. You can pay on that policy for 10 years. The estate is $100,000, the death benefit. Now, it can grow. There are policies that have features that can exceed that face amount, but the minimum death benefit is the face amount. You can pay on it for 50 years, $100,000. That's the estate. Now, you can own it, and if you feel like, well, I bought this policy, but I'd like to gift it to someone else, transfer it to someone else, you can do that. It's an asset to you. And as such, you have the benefit of maneuvering it. You can surrender it back to the insurance company. They'll give you a surrender value. So it's good to have, believe me. Okay?
That's cool,
Yeah.
cause then you feel more confident that it's not wasted time. What if I died tomorrow, I started something I couldn't finish?
Yeah, yeah.
But if there's a surrender value, that's hopeful, because then you're doing something that will, have some benefit after you go.
After some years, yeah.
And, yeah, it's weird how so many years of my life, I thought it was too late to do any of this. So there's a consciousness about not having enough to even start it, or thinking it's not going to pay off.
Yeah.
And that all that effort that it takes to put money aside will take from my life rather than give to my life. And I really do believe that that's important to talk about, because, here I am, a white person with a so-called privileged life, and I feel that way, and I felt that way all my life. But people who have been oppressed and held down and have more of a reason to feel that way, are facing, I think, that psychological part when they're thinking about insurance now.
Well, see, this is the objective behind this conversation, to have you revisit your thoughts and feelings about something you previously felt one way about, and now that you're hearing it again, and it's a different time and era, you're at a different stage of your life. Are you renewing your thoughts and transforming your thinking about this? Very good. Thank you, sister. Thank you so much. Well, okay, let's have Brother Blunt, you draw a
Okay.
raffle ticket here. Somebody's about to win
All
a
right.
gift card. Thank you so much for presenting today.
Okay.
Yeah, shake it up good. There you go. Okay. This is good.
As I get to pull it too?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna keep the luxury winner. That one, I'll let you read it.
Okay. The number is 558492.
Amen.
Woo! See, she wanted to pull so fast. Okay, hang on, I got you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You've been hanging in here with us
Thank you, sir.
very patiently, and I appreciate it. We are gonna call up our final presenter, very wonderful gentleman, and then we're going to dismiss you, and I will provide you lunch on your way out the door. So, I would like to introduce Dwight